Hello everyone. We're gonna do a little bit something. We're going to do something a little bit different today. Hold on, I gotta turn the audio off on my computer. So today, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna attempt a photography project. I am a photographer, and I really like to experiment with doing a lot of things in post in Photoshop, playing around, blending pictures together, making sort of a collage. And something I've wanted to do for a while is this project, which I'm just going to call making a Metroid. And essentially, what it is I'm going to make a Metroid out of mostly food items, stuff I found at the grocery store, stuff that looks organic that I can sort of piece together a Metroid with. You know, a Metroid has its head, its gelatinous head, kind of like a jellyfish. It has those balls inside. I don't know what it is, brains or whatever. It has claws and fangly things. So I just went to the grocery store. I picked up a lot of weird stuff. And if this stream looks, you know, kind of raw, that's how I want it to look. Because I don't want to show that it's like it's very possible to do a project like this in your own house. I live in a 500 square foot apartment, so there's not a lot of room. I'm very close to the floor. And like I said, we're using stuff I got at the grocery store. The only fancy stuff is my camera equipment. This is a 5D Mark III, and we're going to be using a strobe light, an Alien Bees, a Policy Buff Einstein, just one, and probably a reflector. It's going to be a very dark photo. Yeah, but you know, you can feel free to use any camera that you'd like, as long as it could, connect to a strobe, really. Yeah, as long as it can get a strobe to flash, then you could probably do this project. There are cheap strobes out there. So you know, if you want to try along or improve upon my methods, and you're more than welcome to. It's going to be a lot of experimenting. My projects are sort of half-baked, so to speak. So we'll get it to the point of being fully baked just by doing it. So yeah, at any point you can feel free to ask me questions. I got the chat going, although it looks like there's no one in right now. Let me make sure everything is good. I mean, it looks like the stream is good. I'm just gonna refresh and make sure. Cool. So yeah, we're ready to go. This is generally where it's going to be taking place, just sort of right here. My camera is right. You can't see it, but my camera's right there. So let's sort of raise this camera up so I can, zoom out a bit here. see if that works. Alright, that works a little bit. Here's the one light stand that I'm going to be using. It's a little high compared to where all the sort of tabletop manipulation is going on. But we'll see if we could make it work regardless. So yeah, I have this Einstein. Gotta just mount it like so. So this is like, what, like 4.5 feet off the ground, or maybe a little bit more. And the table's maybe 2 feet off the ground. So it's gonna be a very toppy sort of light in the back, very backlit. So I'm gonna be using this octabox here. In my apartment, it's the only thing that I have in terms of modifiers. I have other modifiers at a studio, not here, but actually those are a lot bigger. Those are good. Those are like 64-inch and I think an 86-inch umbrella. So just way too big for this project anyway. Ideally, maybe I'd have a bit of a smaller softbox, like a really small softbox, but I don't have it here. I don't have one, period. So we'll just make do with this and see what it looks like. So that mounts as so. I'm just gonna actually switch up the music so it's not just Ridley's layer there. There we go. So that's a little bit better. So yeah, we have this softbox. This octabox is very high. Let's see if we bring it down just a little bit here. There we go. That's a little bit nicer. I'm going to be using this this honeycomb grid just to make it a little bit more directional. I don't know how much like light wrap I want around what I'm going to be photographing, so I might take this off depending on if it's too dark and it's too directional, it's too much of a backlight, and if I want it to wrap around the stuff that I'm shooting, the various parts of the Metroid, then I will take it off. Let's see here. Now, I'm sure you're all wondering, and by all I mean nobody watching right now, but if you're watching this after the fact, you might be wondering, what in the world am I going to make this Metroid out of? Well, you'll see. We're going to start with its head. Like I said, it's got its globy head, and it has these little bumpy things in them, bumpy balls. Some people depict it with 3, some people depict it with 5. I think we're going to go with 5, although we're really only going to shoot one at a time, and we're going to manipulate it in Photoshop to make it look like there are much more than there actually are. But the first thing we're going to do, the first thing you want to do whenever you're sort of doing a photography project like this, well, I can only speak for myself, but I want to make sure that the lighting is right and that the lighting is going to work, so that I don't have to position my objects or prepare my objects and then have to worry about what the lighting is and adjusting the lighting. I want to have a stand-in object, get the lighting set, and then I could just make adjustments and tweaks on the object and get it in the perfect position and then just snap away. So that's why we're setting up the lights first. And that's why we'll take a couple of like mock shots with something. You'll see what it is, but It's gonna be cool. I'm gonna have a model light just for the purposes of Twitch. I normally don't really shoot with the model light because I don't care. But a model light, in case you don't know what a model light is this is a strobe, so it's gonna flash when I take a picture. But sometimes photographers like to get an idea of what the light's gonna look like in real time when they're looking at their subject. So they this just emits a temporary light. The actual flash is so much brighter that this light just doesn't even matter at all. It's not going to register on the exposure. So it's just to get an idea, you know, in terms of visualizing it with your eye in real life. Okay. And then here I have a reflector. Reflectors are folded up. They're just used like fabric type of discs, even though this is like more of a plastic than a fabric. And it's just a disc that reflects light. Since this is the only light I'm going to be using, this reflector is just going to help bounce some light, maybe onto the other side of the subject. So I'm going to place it. I'll show you where it is in a second, but it's going to basically just be on the opposite side of this light. And man, I'm really cramped in my living room here, so this is a little tricky. It's like literally this is the wall and that's one side of my apartment, and then that's the wall of the other side. So it's tiny. This is a tiny room. But anyway, you can see down there that's the reflector, and of course all the action is going to take place right where that bowl is. You may be wondering what these what's going to happen here, and what's going to happen here, and what's going to happen over here. That's going to be for camera settings, so people could follow along and sort of see what I'm doing with the camera settings, because I'm going to have it just hooked up to my computer, so you can just sort of follow along there. So yeah, why don't we just turn on the camera and take a look at some stuff. And we could use my mug, my world's best crooked cop mug that Most Gratuitous gave to me. Shoutouts to him. Shoutouts to Homestar Runner. I'm plugging in my camera. No, we don't want to do that. We want to do remote shooting. So yeah, we got some readout here. We are on control. I'm going to change what's known as the drive mode. I've been taking a lot of pictures of myself, so right now it's on a 10-second timer, which means I press the button, then I run into place, and it takes a picture 10 seconds later. But we're going to put it on just regular single shooting mode. Actually, that's silent. We don't care about silence. The white balance is going to be for flash, because we're using strobes, and it balances about the same. You could always switch white balance in post. We're shooting raw, so white balance, for our purposes, is actually it's metadata. It doesn't matter. It doesn't affect the quality of your image. It's all decided in post. So I'm just going to adjust this here, and you could already see that I've set up a bit of to get an idea of what the camera is seeing. If you look in your top left, you'll see that's where the mug is. This is my histogram. Now this is looking at it just with the model light. So if I were to use the actual strobe, you'll see it's actually way overexposed, and I'll hit the shutter just so you can see. I'll be hitting the shutter right there. And then hopefully the window that I want to pop up will pop up. Also, if that's silent mode, we're putting it on regular mode. Let's see. Where is this window that I need, that I want to see? Window. Alright, it doesn't want to show up for some reason. I don't know why. I'm going to give it a go again. Is it down there? No, it's not. Whoops, get that back in place. Well, normally there'd be a window popping up that I want to use for oh, you know what it is? I don't know if I could have live view on at the same time. There we go. So, yes. So, that's what the camera just saw. I just took a picture, and that's the exposure. When you're shooting with strobes, and I guess when you're shooting on the computer, the camera doesn't like it. Or the software doesn't really like it when you are in live view mode, which I showed you is exactly what it sounds like, what you can use to view things live. So that's probably going to be off, and this upper left-hand corner is probably not going to be of as much significance as I originally thought it was. So I might turn it off. Oops, nope, that's not that one. It's that one. There we go. So yeah, this is my most recent photo in the bottom right, and the top right is just camera settings, really. So let's actually try to take an actual picture. Most likely this ISO speed will be like 100. I'd like to shoot at an I like to shoot at an f11 because it's like the sharpest aperture for this lens. It's a 24 to 105 millimeter. I think it's the sharpest aperture. I mean, I don't actually know, but lenses are typically sharper in their mid-range. So we don't want to be up in the 22, and we don't want to be down in the 4. I might bump it up to 13 just so we get as much depth of field as possible, but I'm going to stay at 11 for now and see what happens. Camera shutter, because we're shooting flash, strobe, you want it to be at 1/125th of a second. That just makes sure that it sort of syncs with the shutter And all these other settings are fine. This is downloads to both the camera and the computer. Oh, that's mirror lockup. Don't need to worry about that. That's just don't worry about that. Yeah, so the last thing to do is sort of, well, take a sip of my coffee. The last thing we want to do is connect the actual light to the camera through this wire. It's just a regular PC, I think they just call them PC wires. You could do it with a wireless flash. I don't have a wireless flash. Well, at least not with me. I have a Palsy Buff Cyber Commander. That's currently where my other lights are. And that works pretty well. It's pretty cheap. But you know what works just as well? A manual sync works just as well. So we're going to see what this photo looks like with this lighting, with this strobe. We'll see what pops up in this bottom right hand corner. Do you see the location there? Oh, you do see the location. I don't care. Alright, so that's a flash. Alright, so this is what we're getting. That's the most recent photo. This is sort of what we want. You know, we want it to be very dark. We really... It's looking good. Actually, I'm gonna take a second to see if there's a way where I can... This is a quick preview. What I want... Can I do it on the camera? I can do it on the camera. Yeah, okay, so I want a histogram readout, which I actually need to download a different software for. I don't want to get that at the moment. So we'll just continue as is for now, and we'll see if I need to do that later on. So we have this mug. It's kind of nice. I'm going to bring up the light just a little bit because we're shooting a white object and it looks good, and we'll probably not be shooting a white object. So let's bring it up about half a stop. No, let's do a full stop for now, and then we'll go down. I would tell you the power readout of the light, but to be honest, it really doesn't matter. You use your eye. Your eye is like the best tool that you have. Well, your histogram is really, but your eye is the second best. I mean, you know what you want in your mind's eye, and you're just trying to get it as close as possible. So, trust your eye, really. And play around. You don't have to go with the first exposure. Never feel that you have to. Cool, so let me just make sure the stream is still good, and we're all dandy with that. Okay, I just set my computer to not sleep, just, you know, in case case I miss any comments on Twitch. So now let's bring out something that we're going to be using as part of the Metroid. So as those little, like, bumbly things in its head, we're going to essentially be using a cauliflower. So I have a cauliflower here. So let's set it up as so. We're going to be cutting all the green stuff off of it. But, and we're also going to be painting it red a little bit. But let's just see what it looks like when I photograph it. Okay. That looks interesting. Looks kind of cool. So one of the things that I want is I want to get as close to the object as possible. So I'm going to move forward with this camera a little bit. And actually, we're going to bring up the live view shoot. And we're going to change our settings back down here so we can see what we're doing. Yeah, okay. So, let me bring this screen back here. So this is our live view shoot, as you see once again. And I'm going to move that there. Still want it to be, see a bit more of the cauliflower here. I think this angle's good. It's pretty much head on. It's a little bit high. I might bring the cauliflower up on something actually. I have some books that I'm going to use. So let's use that. Let's bring these books here. Or do I have any? Yeah, okay. There we go. So let's take this off here. Bring this book up here. Yeah, this way we're looking up a little bit at it. And it's going to be a little bit more backlit that way. And it's just how I want the photo to be. The Metroid is probably going to look a lot more imposing if we're looking a bit up at it. So I think that's the feeling I want to get. So everything might have a bit of a upwards angle to it. So we got that there. Let's move it forward just a tad. Use some of my tools here. There we go. Okay, now we're getting there. Yeah, that looks like it's filling the frame nice. And of course, we focus in on that. Looks good. We're gonna put it a little bit higher actually. So we got my Dreamweaver book balanced on my MS-DOS 5.0 reference manual. Glad both of these things are being put to good use. Cool. Let's bring this up just a little bit more. I have a big monitor that I'm looking at, so that certainly helps. Cool. That looks pretty good. I'm gonna just go close to the monitor so I can focus in really well, and I'm gonna bring this camera around here. There we go. So you can see a little bit better. So the focus, since we're so close, we want to make sure that the focus is kind of not right on that Y, but a little bit back. When you take a picture, the rule of focus is that at the point of like precise focus, you can sort of split the plane, the depth of field, into 3 parts. One of those parts will be in front of the perfect focus, and then 2 of those parts will be behind the perfect focus, yet all of those parts will be what's considered acceptable focus. So you might not be able to see the subtlety of it, but let's just take a picture. Oh, well, I have to exit out here, take a picture like that, because once again, live view doesn't let us do what we want. Oh yeah, our exposures. So let's bring our exposure back here. F11, and we were at 1/125th of a second. Cool. So we're starting to see the light a little bit. It's not too big of a deal because there's there's black around it. What is a big deal is that there's now a bit of lens flare. You can see in this top corner here, it gets a little fuzzy. So we are... Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring Bridge. I'm going to open up Adobe Bridge. Hold on 1 second. Where's my pictures? 16, that's us. Cool. How does this work? That works pretty good. Does that go any more here? Can I do this? Maybe. Yes, I can. Okay. So this is Adobe Bridge. Is that covering this? No, it's not. Okay. And here we can sort of check our focus to make sure things are like nice and in focus. You can see that's nicely in focus. The back maybe not so much. The front, yeah, I mean that's all good. It's a pretty good range. We might adjust it a little bit more, but before we do that, let's work on this light situation. I'm going to actually raise it up, or you know what, I'm going to turn it and bring it around just a tad bit, and raise it up at the same time. And let's see what we're getting here. Okay, so the light's almost out of the way. Once again, not too much of a problem. We want this to be dark, so a lot of things will be black around it and everything's going to be caught out. But once again, like I said, the main thing I'm worrying about is that flare. I'm going to do 2 things. One, I'm going to bring my aperture up to 13. It's going to get me a little bit more depth of field. And because I just raised it up half a stop, I'm going to raise the power of the light up half a stop. In fact, I'm going to raise it a full stop, just out of curiosity to see what happens. Because this will be up just a tad bit. Not too much, just a tad. So, good. The light's out of the way. We're actually getting a decent exposure on the front of the cauliflower. And actually, if you see in Bridge, getting a little bit of chromatic aberration on the edge. We'll be fixing that. We got a nice focus on the front, a decent focus in the back. The back's not going to matter. Well, it's going to matter. So we'll see what we can do with that, because we're going to be placing these, we're going to be stacking these cauliflower essentially, so there'll be some different depth to them. So yeah, that does concern me. We'll see what happens. One thing I want to do is I want to cover the shine of this bowl right here with some sort of black material so it doesn't reflect. So I'm going to go try and find something. Okay, so there's two things that I'm doing. One, to ensure that we have a nice black background. I'm going to, I don't know if you can see it, if it's in camera right now, but I'm going to bring a chair over here, and I'm just going to drape a black bed sheet over so that the background is going to be completely black. And there's no chance of it not being so. Like I said, yeah, I don't know if you can see it, you probably can't, but... The second thing I'm going to do is actually sacrifice a t-shirt that I have, just so we can get rid of some of that shine on the bowl, right there. So let's take a picture, see what it looks like. Okay, cool. So you see we have far less bounce on the bottom of that cauliflower than we did before. This is now a lot darker. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Well, this reflector is bringing a lot of exposure out on the right side, so I think it's okay to sacrifice a little bit. I'm going to bring the reflector around a little bit, and then take another picture and see what we're getting here. Okay, interesting. So now we see the reflectors bringing out a lot of exposure around here. Now that might be something we want. That's kind of cool. Is it too much? I don't know. I actually kind of like it. I'm going to back it off just a little bit. We could always back it off in post, but I actually think it's kind of cool. So let's see here. We're getting, yeah, okay, it's a little bit darker. I think that's what I'm gonna go with. This sort of exposure. So let's open up this cauliflower and see what we're dealing with here. I'm actually going to take this shirt off here that was on here, just so I'm actually probably going to be cutting this. So hold on, I just want to make sure I can see in the stream. And I'm going to move around my windows just for a second. Here we go. Cool. Now I could just make sure that you guys are seeing the same thing I'm seeing, as well as making sure like my levels and stuff are good and proper. So yes, we're going to take off this plastic wrap of this cauliflower. Just kind of see what it looks like. See what parts of it we want to use. Cut off the green stuff. I'm no cauliflower expert, so... My apologies once again if the audio is a little off. I'm not the best with audio. Like I said, this is a very raw stream. I have an AC going, and there was a thunderstorm out before, which made it a little difficult, so... Okay. I'm going to be careful with this. You know, it's a little dirty, and we're actually not going to clean it off. We kind of want it to be very oddly organic. Everything we want to sort of have this organic quality about it. That's why I chose a lot of food objects to use. I do have a knife that I'm going to use here. Let's cut a lot of this stuff off. We want to try to preserve as much of the cauliflower as possible, obviously. It's a little hard because it tends to crumble off. Let's try to carefully bring this knife down here. Whoa, okay. Trying to not get anything on the floor so that we don't want to attract any bugs or actual Metroids that may be floating around in my apartment walls. Goodness. Stuff is just bouncing off all over the place. Okay, interesting. So, it's very flat. It's a lot flatter than I thought it was going to be. Which we can work around with. We're going to just have to shoot it much like that. You know, sort of very upright. And I know this cauliflower is a little blown out in the actual webcam video. You can't really see the details, but we'll soon take a photo, an actual photo of it, and be able to see some more detail of it. And then the fun stuff will happen. So, just getting all these bits and pieces off. Once again, trying not to make a mess of my apartment. Because bugs and mice will come. Alright, that's not bad. Let's put this back on here. One second. Let's take a towel here. An ounce of prevention is worth $1 of... I don't know what they say. What do they say? The point is, be clean the first time. Usually helps. So we have this gnarly looking thing here. They call it cauliflower. I call it a Metroid brain. And it's gonna look awesome. So let's see what it looks like. Let's give it a go here. You see how much smaller it got? That's too funny. It looks pretty sweet though. I mean, look at that. That's really, really cool. And we're gonna take a bunch of different angles of this, but wow, that's really cool. And we'll bring it up. We'll bring it up right here. So yeah, we'll take a look at some of the focus here. It's a bit hard to see, but you know, focus is pretty good across the board here. Very nice, very nice. So yeah, this is gonna be those little balls inside the Metroid, and you know, it's not quite as rotund as I thought it was gonna be, but that's okay. I mean, things probably aren't that way if it was an actual, you know, being, if it was an actual thing. But one thing that I will do is I might in post, I could shape it up a little bit, make it a little bit more rotund than it actually is. So let's for now bring up our good friend live view shoot. And I know it's a little tedious to do this, keep going back and forth here, but we just want to make sure it's in, it's, you know, it's right centered. And I'm actually going to magnify like 10 times here, right, maybe 5 times. Just so we get to like the top here, and I can see when I focus exactly where my focus is going to land. I'm going to bring it a bit more to the center. So when I take a picture now, oh, I keep forgetting to do that. One 1/25. Yeah, that's good enough. Cool. Now, a bit of an issue. My focus isn't exactly where I want it to be. We're a bit soft in the front here. So we're going to go back to live view. Try it once more. No, that happens. That should get us where we want to be, actually. Let's try that. One 25. Oh, I'm on a 9, not an 11. There we go. Yeah, we want to preserve the highlights in the top, which is why I err on the side of caution in terms of exposure there. And this is looking pretty good for focus. Rather, that is looking pretty good for focus. Cool. Alright, now I'm sure there's sort of the obvious question here. This is white. Metroid. Those things on Metroids are red. So we're gonna paint it red. And to do that, I'm going to prepare behind the scenes, and hopefully you can still hear me as I speak. Just check the stream again to make sure everything looks good. Which it still does. Cool. So yeah, if you could hear me behind the scenes, which I suspect you can, I'm going to be preparing a concoction in a small jelly jar. And that concoction is going to be some olive oil and some food coloring here. Now, why olive oil? You might be asking yourself. Well, the answer is simple. I'm using olive oil because I want it to be very wet looking. When I first thought about, you know, how am I going to get the right organic look, I sort of thought about the fact that Metroids would probably be very gooey and wet, you know, so. Alright, so let's do this here. Hopefully we don't get red food dye everywhere, but we have our olive oil here in this jelly jar. And we have our red food dye, and we also have a brush here that we're going to be using. That we're also going to, you know, we're going to use to mix it up. So, let's see, let's try 5 drops of red. Why am I using 5 drops? No idea, but let's see if it mixes up. Okay, so we're at something that I didn't anticipate here. This is fascinating. So, this food dye apparently is oil-based, and because I'm putting it in an oil, it is not dissolving. It is just creating these sort of these little beads inside, which is fascinating. So that doesn't work. We're gonna I just wasted a bunch of olive oil. Let's try some water, and we'll see how that goes. Yeah, so I said the food coloring was oil-based, but I think it's the other way around. It's that food coloring is not oil-based, so it won't mix. If it was oil-based, it would mix, but it's not. And I didn't know, so I did not remember my chemistry/physics. So I've just added 10 drops of red inside a little bit of water. And I'm just going to mix this up. I'm just going to see what happens if I brush just a little bit on this cauliflower. I really have no idea what's going to happen here. If it's going to soak through. Oh boy. So, here's another thing that's happening. This cauliflower is very waxy. So, because it's waxy, it's not going to absorb the water. It just kind of beads right off of it. Okay. So now I don't know what to do. I'm thinking that I might play around in Photoshop for a little bit and see if I can just get this naturally red. And then I won't have to worry about painting it red. Here. Now I could paint it red. I could go out and buy some paint. But I don't want to do that for a number of reasons. One, I don't want this to be an expensive project. I don't want to be, you know, like buying materials left and right here. I want it to be very simple. I want it to be organic and just simple in case anyone, just show that like you can do a lot of this stuff cheaply and in post. What I still might do is I might still coat this in some oil to get it the slippery look, goopy look. So let's open up Photoshop and see sort of what we can play around with here. Alright, let's see here. I have the image here. I think you can see pretty clearly. That should be good. So we're just going to do a very simple, just for the sake of what's going to happen, this hue saturation. And we're going to change the master hue to like a red. And we might make it like a bit more saturated. This actually looks pretty good. And I'm not feeling as nervous as I was about it. Let's bring that back to 0. Our lightness, you don't want to mess around with lightness unless you really kind of know what you're doing there. So yeah, we have this very bright red. So what can we do to make it sort of this like deep red here? Well, let's bring our levels in. And let's actually change some of like the mid-range levels here. So yeah, we could do something like that. We could even bring... Well, we don't necessarily want to change our black and white values here. Mid-range maybe. Just a tad. Then actually, if we go back to levels, and we just change our RGB levels and sort of crush our blacks a little bit, yeah, then we can get some real deep reds going on here. And then you see sort of already this is starting to look very weird, and you know, have this deep red quality to it. So I'm gonna say that I'm okay with this. I think it looks rather cool. And I actually might end up opening up the other cauliflower for a couple of reasons. One being that I don't know if I ruined it putting the red on it already. But the good thing is that our light is set up, so we can just snap away, open up the other cauliflower, and snap away again, and sort of create that, give us some opportunities, some possibilities for us to play around with later on. I really like what that reflector's doing on the right side, and I really do kind of like this harsh light that's sort of blowing out just a bit of the Metroid brain thing on top. I think that's really, really cool. It looks very organic, it looks very gross, it looks very disgusting. We're going to do one more, since this is sort of our test subject here, we're going to do one more with the olive oil, just plain olive oil, and just see if we can give it a nice sheen. I think it would be cool, you know, if it was just super, super goopy. But let's just see if we can soak up just a little bit more of this red that we ruined the cauliflower with. The good news is the other side's fine. You know, we can shoot the other side, we can move it around, we can open up the other cauliflower. So it's, you know, nothing's ruined. You know, it's just so waxy that I could literally go around and dab every bead of red water on this cauliflower. There's a few places where it's soaked through and it's soaked in to its, you know, its flesh, its meat, but in general, it's pretty good. I'll be back, and we'll sort of see how oily we can get it. Use the bathroom. I'll be right back. Okay. So we're gonna try coating this thing in some olive oil. We're gonna try to be neat about it. And this is simply to make it look wet and oily and nasty. See how that's looking for now. Okay. Let's hide Photoshop. Let's bring this in. Alright, yeah, now we're looking a lot more wet. So if you look over here, you'll see that's the dry, and that's sort of the wet. Check our focus as we always do. Look decent there. I mean, it trails off. It's not perfect. And we do see a little bit of that red, but we can get rid of that in post. That's not too much of a concern. It's looking pretty good. You know, I like it. Definitely a little bit more of a shine to it. I'm going to check my histogram on my actual camera. See if we're peaking just a little bit. You know what I want to do? I'm going to take this, go to an F13, take it again. I think that's where I want to be, and I'll tell you why. Because those highlights dramatically reduce when I'm at a 13, and I'd rather have my highlights not peak and be able to bring up all the other portions than have my highlights peak and you know, have more shadow detail at the moment, because chances are I'll crush a lot of the shadows in post, so I don't necessarily need all of that detail. Cool. Let's add just a little bit more oil. And then we'll just snap away. Oh, I didn't even notice the music has changed to Donkey Kong Country. I'm sorry. There we go. I tell you, there's just... It's gonna be too late to vacuum. It's just a pain to pick up all these little pieces that fall off the cauliflower by hand. I'm on a tiny little coffee table. Cool. Alright, now we're getting super goopy here. Okay, this is where I want to be. Take another one for good luck. And what we're going to begin to do is we're going to begin to turn the cauliflower, and just so my hand doesn't get oily, I'm going to put on this glove here. Of course, I don't care if there's oil on my hand, but I don't want to get it everywhere else, so glove makes it a little bit easier. Let's turn it all the way around here. Let's give that a shot, see what that looks like. Not bad, not bad. I think this might be a good angle here. Bring this a little bit back. Yeah, that's nice. A little bit forward. I'm gonna bring it forward just a little bit more, just to get the back more in focus. Cool. That's pretty good. There's some stuff at the bottom, but I can clear that off. Cool. So this is pretty good. Another thing, I'm going to continue to spin it around. Let's put some more oil on it. Yeah, you see how that oil just like really brings out, it saturates like the dark parts and just makes it all more contrasty. to turn it a little bit more. And then I'm going to do something kind of interesting here. I'm going to start to sort of bring this whole apparatus up on an angle, because there are like 3 Metroid things, or like I said, some have a 3, some have like 3 and then 2 in the back, so they're going to be at an angle, and I want to make sure that we don't have to, that the integrity of the lighting is the same across all angles. So I'm going to do it for the other side as well. Hopefully this cauliflower doesn't... we're getting close to it, moving all over the place. You know what, let's use this little card here, card reader. Let's see how that looks on an angle if we're still... Okay. That helps. That helps. Now I'm gonna try to spin it around while it's on top here. Now that you get the that piece of leaf on the bottom there, so let's bring it all the way around here. Let's bring it back just a tad. I'll paint it up again with some oil. That's okay. That piece on the bottom, we could actually cover that pretty well. We could also paint in some more shadows in post to make it a little bit more shadowy. Let's get some oil. The oil we can't really do anything with in post, so we gotta get that right the first time. Cool. Those highlights are a little heavy, but I'm okay with it. So let's bring this back down. Let's remove this and this so it's level. And now we're going to try it with the other side here. just take a snap and see what our position's like here. Alright, we're a little off. It's okay, we can slide it back. On there. I'm going to move the camera a little bit. See if this helps. Okay, that's much better. So yeah, this side's probably more of like the problem side because it's not where the direct light is. So you really want to get this side right. Get the angle and everything right. That's pretty good except for this side, but we might sort of blend this together. So I'm not too worried about that side. Got a little bit of crud coming off the bottom. See if we can get rid of that, and then do some more painting to this. And we're almost done with this cauliflower. You know, I don't even think I'm going to need the other one. I really don't know what it would add. I'll keep it in the fridge, I'll review these photos. If we need it, I'll use it. It's not a big deal. Cauliflower is cheap. I got 2 of these. I mean, one of those is $2, so, you know, could be a lot worse. Cool. That's a good one. It's a nice little angle there. Let's take that again for prosperity here. I'm going to bring it a little bit forward once more. And then get some paint on this guy. The olive oil helps really knock down that sheen too a little bit. It makes it a little bit darker just because of the color of the olive oil, but brings those highlights down so they don't totally blow out. Let's go back a little bit. Alright. You see that? Forward even a little bit more. Cool. You know, I think that's good. We're just gonna look at the color here for a second, and then look at the color here. I knock this down just a tad. There we go. So yeah, our color's fine. That's our one of our first examples. That's one of our last examples. I mean, we're a little off. We'll balance it. There's some magenta, red shifts there. Actually, you know what? It's this quick display displays it a little more magenta than it should be. But we're fine. We're totally fine here. Cool. So, I think we're done with the cauliflower. I'm gonna throw it out. Oh, are we on the Zelda soundtrack? We're going back to Super Metroid. That one's nice and long. Okay, so we've got these little Metroid brain things. So you might be asking, well, what's next? Well, we have to sort of figure out what they're on. Okay, just dump this. Now, obviously, there's no rules because no one's ever done this and Metroids don't exist, so we have to figure out what in real life can sort of replicate that sort of fleshy tissue that it's on. It's more smooth tissue. It's not as bumpy. I'm not going to attempt to give you a biological answer why, because that would be BS. But I will tell you what I got, or what I thought of. What I got was this mushroom thing. Called it a royal trumpet mushroom? I really don't know what that is, but I'm going to take it out of its bag and bring it over, and maybe we'll snap a quick photograph of it. And then maybe I'll cover it in oil again. So sit tight. Oh, so I will say this. This thing's very crumbly, and I was having a hard time figuring out a way to get it to stay, or thinking. I think I'm gonna have a hard time getting it to stay. So I brought this grapefruit, or what is it? I guess it's a grapefruit, or yeah. And I'm gonna be like trying to pin it with some toothpicks to get it to stay. So turn the ball upside down, and I'm gonna use sort of this. This might work a little bit better. Let's see how easily this is stabbed. Okay, so you can stab these things. Let's take a picture and just take a look, see what it looks like. Make sure it's in frame. Ow. Alright, yeah, that's about how we want it. Let's fix the shirt so there's not a lot of wrinkles here. Alright, so don't worry, we're not taking a picture of the actual orange. Or grapefruit as it is. Okay, so this thing kind of smells bad. Probably because it's a fungus. So let's take these out. It's very delicate. It's crumbly. It's very crumbly, so... You know what? I'm gonna bring it to the counter and cut it. Just so it doesn't crumble, doesn't continue to crumble over there. Okay. Interesting. So this is the fleshy part that I want the Metroid to sort of like be resting on, so to speak. Or like those little heads. So these little cauliflowers will kind of be like there, on top, and on the side. Now you do have this little piece over here that's kind of like crumbled. We might be able to fix that somehow. Or it might just simply might not matter. It might just give the Metroid a little more style. What I am going to do is I'm going to see if I can tilt this down just a tad so we can get this top part more in focus. And that's a lot better. I'm going to try to move this whole apparatus forward here. This grapefruit's really doing its job. I'm very proud of it. Okay. There we go. That's about the focus I want. We're going to try just a little bit more forward. It's okay if that front part isn't totally in focus. I'm also going to try to just clean this up just a little bit. Once again, I don't really know what this is. It looks like someone poured spices all over it. It's just a smelly mushroom, really. Yeah, okay, that's where we want it to be. That's pretty good. Now I'm just gonna rotate it a little bit. Maybe if we're lucky we hide that broken part and it all works out okay. Yeah, that's how we want it. That's looking real nice. No, maybe we could hide it even more if we can't. I know I can hide that in post, and it's not going to be a big deal. It's looking real good. Looking real good. Even better. I can hide that in post. And because it's a little lopsided, I'm going to attempt to just like bring it a little bit like that. Let's try that. Cool. Cool. That is really nice. I'm really digging that. I think that's the position I want. Looks like everything's good in focus here. That back is still a little bit out, but I'd rather have this front be more in focus than the back. I might bring it in just a little bit more. Let's see if that front falls out of focus. No. No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm gonna keep going, keep bringing it in. Alright, now I think the front is starting to fall out. Yeah, the front's starting to fall out of focus. That's you know, that's where the focus is. Now, that's a little gone, the front's a little gone. I'd rather have the front be a little bit more in focus and sharp. So, I'm gonna move it back just a hair. Now, I bought potatoes to, small little tiny, like cherry tomato potatoes to sort of set up on here to make it like little mock things for the Metroid head. Ooh, that's sharp. That's sharp too. That's really sharp. Why is this all sharp all of a sudden? Oh, you know what it is? It's this thing didn't get a chance to load. So if I go back here... Oh yeah, we're super sharp. Okay. Yeah, we can keep bringing it forward. Yeah, so I was gonna like make little mock places where those balls would be and like stick them on this fungus, but I'm not gonna do that because this thing's way too flimsy, and it would just break off. So. Yeah, I think that's what I want with our focus. So the front's all in focus, and the back can fall out because that's where the Metroid heads are going to be. And I'm not going to worry too much about cleaning this up, because like I said, I could get most of this in post, and I don't want this thing to just crumble on me. So I'll keep that. I'll take one more, then brush it with some oil. Cool. What's that thing on the side? Is that up top? Oh, I see that. There's this little fleck. Try to get off here. That's it. That's how it's gonna be. Let me get this thing up with olive oil again, and we'll continue. Okay. That's gonna look nice. Let's snap one. So if you look at the top, we have sample A, turns into a goopy sample B. I like the first one better, to be honest. This one's a little bit too much. Interesting. I'm gonna try to sop it off, but at least we got one where it was good. Yeah, it's too much. Too much. Well, you know, that's why it's an experiment. And that's why you sort of cover your tracks at every time. I thought it was going to be the opposite. I thought it was going to be a little bit more shiny. Just a little bit more wet, a little bit more goopy, but it just, all the detail got sucked right out of it because of the lighting, the way the lighting is. So let's try that now. Tried to sop a little bit up off of it. And we turned it a little bit in the process. Let's try to bring it back just a tad. You know, at least we have options now. This might end up being what we want. I'm going to try just a little bit more of sopping it up. Otherwise, we'll continue, and we'll just use that last one we got before we put the oil on. It worked on the cauliflower. It did not work on this. Okay, I mean, not terrible. I mean, it kind of works. We might just leave it at that. I might do something where I sort of overlay the two and try to get it to work like that. Let's see how this looks in bridge. It might look a little bit better in bridge. It does look a little bit better in bridge. I think we're a little bit more... Gotta retain a little bit more texture in bridge. But yeah, I mean, it soaked it up. It soaked that oil up. It's not going to get any less oily. So let's call it at that. Now let's figure out sort of next steps with this, because the next few steps might be a little bit tricky. So I'm going to empty this here. you know, this whole thing's just gonna go in the trash. Because I don't want to deal with it. My goal was not to have leftover mushrooms and grapefruit to eat. And cauliflower, so... No love lost. Take all this off the shirt here. Make sure nothing's gonna fall on the floor. Nothing has fallen on the floor. So far we're good. So far it looks good. I think we've cleaned up pretty well. And just do one more floor check here. We're pretty good. I'm gonna put this in the dishwasher, and I'm gonna take this and bring it back. Okay. So I got a couple things we can do right now. I think the first thing that I will do is I'm gonna pack up this garbage for now. I live in Manhattan, there's a lot of cockroaches, so I'd like to not keep my garbage too full, and when it does get a little bit full, I stick it in the fridge, and I'll be taking it out later tonight, so that's all you really have to know. Okay. Now, this is what we're gonna do. So I had bought these packets of gelatin, and I don't know which one I want to use. This will be mainly for the Metroid, you know, gelatinous part. I have clear gelatin, and then I have lemon gelatin. My thinking with the lemon gelatin is that if it's a little bit of a color, I could turn it that greenish hue that it tends to be when people depict it, and that it is depicted in the game. And that might be easier than making the clear one green. But I'm gonna try both. I'm gonna put both in a bowl. Maybe we'll mix that up right now. 2.5 cups of boiling water to 4. Wait, that's Jello jigglers. What would I? Directions: 1 cup boiling water, 1 cup cold water. Add boiling water to gelatin mix. Stir 2 minutes until completely dissolved. Stir in cold water. Refrigerate 4 hours or until firm. Makes 4 1/2 cup serving, so it makes 2 cups of gelatin. See how much is in each package here. Oh, this is a whole thing here. Oh, and this is 4 1-ounce packages. Oh, wait. No. Huh. Doesn't tell you just how to make gelatin. We're gonna make some Jello or gelatin, really. I don't know if that's gonna be able, if you're gonna be able to see this. Nah, we might cut this. We might cut this short. And just maybe work on some of like the Photoshop stuff, and I'll just make the gelatin on my own time. That sounds like a better idea. So I'm gonna take this, move this here. Okay, so I'm gonna make this cello not now, and we will cut to some Photoshop fun, and maybe just play around a little bit with what we got so far. So, here we are. I'm going to turn off my camera, plug it so I can move a little bit closer here. I'm going to move cool. So let's see here. How are we on Super Metroid soundtrack? We've got about 20 minutes left. Okay, I'm trying to figure out the audio, why it doesn't system capture audio. That's what it is. Stand by. Okay. I think that's good. Turn that off. Okay. Great. Now, it should be good. So we have bridge here, and we actually, Photoshop is hidden, but we have Photoshop here. Now in bridge we have sort of our wet mushrooms, and that's our dry mushroom. It gets a little bit better. Let's open up this wet mushroom. See what we can work with here. So this is going to be our Metroid. Exposure-wise, I'm fine with this. I'm not going to mess around too much in here. Tint. Let's put it like 10. Move chromatic aberration. I think that's a fine correction for distortion. Okay. Let's look at some source material here. Well, that's what we're listening to. Metroid. Okay, so this is what the Metroid tends to look like. The inside is red, the outsides are red. It's all very red. And then you have claws. That's good enough for me. So, I think that's fine. We're going to open the image. And we're just going to do just some very, like, light masking. So first we're going to make a copy of the background just in case. Then we're going to make a masking layer. Let's see what we can do. Now, I'm no expert Photoshop person, so we might just use this magnetic lasso and see where it gets us. It's not the best. Yeah. That's not how I'm gonna silhouette it. I'm just gonna kind of go around and do it by eye. This is a quick fix. I probably will do this on my own time. The proper masking of this. We'll make that a little bit stronger here. And let's bring background there. Let's make it black. I'm going to turn my AC back on. Sorry for the noise. Now, this doesn't have to be perfect because most of this stuff is going to be obscured by the like the gelatin anyway. It's going to like have a pretty hard cutoff. So we'll see what ends up happening. This is going to be a very rough mask. Mask that out there. tricky area because of the contrast. Just scroll across. So the oil worked a little bit better than I thought it would be. I think I'm going to end up sticking with the oil. Now there's a rough patch, but we might just work around it. That's good enough for now. We'll feather that later. Like I said, this is just a very rough kind of, you know, masking for now. And I know we get a little bit of that flare there. Just because, and I'll take the levels and I'll just sort of crush it just a little bit just so it's not as noticeable. And it's non-destructive, I might as well anyway. Just make sure the stream is fine. I'll deal with that later. So, I am going to sort of bring this crop just a little bit up. And with that, I'm going to make the background there. I'm going to come back to bridge. And I'm going to bring in... Let's bring in... Well, first let's work on this hue here. Let's bring this up top. Now if we colorize this, it doesn't look that good. But if we really want to make this red, like a nice, juicy Metroid red, kind of like that. It would be in our best interest to keep it sort of like this, you know, saturated. Let's sort of keep it like that for now. Fix up those problem areas where it kind of looks a little bit weird. Let's say this is like the hue we're going with. Let's bring in this last thing that we brought in. The only thing we want to do is remove chromatic aberration and lens correction. Everything else we want to stay the same just so we have some sort of consistency. Consistency and lighting and whatnot. Actually, this level layer can apply for just about everything. Let's see how we want to mask this. This will be another rough mask. In fact, I might do this entirely with a brush. Well, we're going to keep those shadows relatively dark. Whoops. Sort of come in here, take our lasso. Say, whoops. That. Now before we get ahead of ourselves, let's see what we can do with the color here. Let's do another hue layer. First, let's make sure that's out there. Come on. I don't want to do that. Okay. Let's bring in hue saturation. Is this almost done? Oh, I don't think this is in here. I think that's in. Sorry, you can't see my layers. I didn't realize that. It's hard to get this right. You can't see both at the same time. Anyway, yes. Okay. Sorry. This is where we duplicated our base layer. This is a layer of black. This is a little mushroom guy. Hue saturation layer that changed the hue of the mushroom guy. This is our cauliflower one. This will be, we're going to create a clipping mask so that it just affects our cauliflower layer. And this is just sort of a levels that crushes the blacks just a little bit to make the background black. So yes, let's do what we wanted to do from the beginning. Get this really like glowy, Metroid-y, just pink goodness. And I'm going to create another clipping mask with that. Going to make it even darker. Yeah, that looks sweet. That looks really sweet there. In fact, you can see the little bits of where I have the food dye, like around there. It made it totally like glow, which is really, really sweet. Now the hard part. Whoa. I'm gonna say brain right. So, you know, this will probably be latched on somewhere over there. I mean, we'll still have to clip this a lot, or rather mask this a lot. So let's do that before we do anything else. And also, you know what? Let's create a clipping mask for that. We're going to create levels for this too. We're going to sort of do the same thing where we crush the blacks. A lot more for this. Just to get it like, you know what, maybe the wetness was a good idea. Cool. And while we're at it, make another layer for this. We'll call this body. And here we have the layer mask. Once again, this is just some super rough stuff. You just even go around with the lasso. Invite that and say, not everything else. So, I mean, we'll do a lot of blending here. We'll sort of like paint in a shadow. But, like, in terms of size, something like that is sort of where I want it to be. Just scrape off a little bit there. And we'll say like I mean, I'm just going to be playing around right now, but if we close that brain right, and I just want to make sure you can see my layers for a second here. Okay, you can see my layers. So let's just like brain curves layer up here, kind of crush it way down, and then I'll like just like sort of paint in some shadows where I think they'll probably go. Like, that's a little bit too much, and they're gonna be like super fuzzy. So like, you know, kind of like that. In fact, that looks really cool. That is pretty sick. I put in a. I'm gonna bring the fill a little bit back. No, I'll keep it there. That's good. I'm gonna be adjusting that layer so much. I know it. But like, that's how sort of dark I want it to be. You know. So yeah, definitely coming out really cool. So we have this is brain 1 here. Let's try to find a good brain 2. Alright, let's go back to the beginning here. So let's go into bridge. Let's go back up to the, oh, you know what? Let's go for the brain 2, the first brain on this side. Let's find a good specimen and make sure it doesn't clash with our first specimen. So the last one, this was the last one we did on this side. Less shiny, more shiny. I might go slightly less. And does it work? Is it the same type of... No, I think that's different. I'm just making sure the sides aren't the same so it doesn't look like simply a mirror image. I mean, our other options are not many. We didn't take too many of this one. Well, that's certainly a little bit different. That, I like that. Because that looks a lot different. We're going to go with that one. And that's the first one we took. So let's bring this into Photoshop. I'm going to open this image. I'll bring this out here. Drag this in. And we'll do the same sort of rough type masking that we did with the other one. Like really like super rough to begin with. Whoops. There we go. Is that where we want it to be? Oops. No. There we go, that's right. But we want it to be one and just a little bit dissolved there. We can get close, we don't have to get too close. Take this, we'll shrink it down to about the same size that this is. Now this one might be a little bit harder to do, to, you know, hide our mistakes, so to speak. Let's actually bring this in just a little bit here. Let's say that's about how we want it. We're gonna have to paint a lot of shadows here. Because this was much easier to hide. So you know what? I'm gonna take this curves layer and put it. No, I'm gonna keep it up top. Levels is gonna go all the way up top, and this is gonna go in its own folder called brain left. And the first thing we're going to do is make copies of these, put it on top of brain left, create a clipping mask there, and create another clipping mask. Cool. And we're going to bring another curves layer, put it on top, way down again, crush it totally, bring it back up, and we're just going to sort of paint and see what happens. Super soft. like, yeah, like, it's hard to hide those types of mistakes there. Because this would really be like a shadowy area. And I'm just gonna have to like paint black around there, really. I'm gonna bring a temporary, like, just black layer, and just like literally just like paint some black. I mean, it's gonna not be like that in a minute, and I'm just sort of feeling it out. Let's take the eraser. And let's bring this up. Bring it super soft and super big. Let's take it all the way over here and just ease it in so that you slowly begin to reveal detail there. So the thing that's giving it away is sort of these highlights over here. So what I can do is I can sort of take the levels. Now, you know what? It's easier to do this stuff with like curves. At least I like to do it with curves. Bring the curves the opposite way. Way below here. And down. And do that. Sort of paint. Is that painting the right way? Painting that way. So that's a little bit better there. That looks pretty cool. We're gonna have to do a little bit of work there. Yeah, because I really wanted to put those like potatoes on that mushroom to prevent that from happening. Because I knew that was gonna happen. But this thing was way too flimsy, this mushroom. It's still pretty cool though. I mean, for now, we're gonna keep it like this. We might buy another one of the mushrooms and just, on our own time, sort of fix it up. Let's keep going as is, you know, just so we have something to show off for the first day. Don't save this. Now here's gonna be the tricky part, putting the third brain up there. Let's close brain left, let's close brain right. These are all our adjustments. We have 3 curves. We will say this is, curve 3 is highlights left. We'll say this is shadow right. And this is shadow left, really. Shadow, whoops. Shadow left. Yes, we'll say black paint, just so we know that we like painted all background, black levels, and we know that's just simply black. Layer 0. What else can we say about that? We didn't duplicate the other ones. Oh well, not a big deal. It's not like they're lost. So now we got to get a good first one that's different. I mean, that looks pretty different. Is it wet enough? Wow, that's pretty ugly. You know what? Let's try this. Let's try this one. Because it's smaller, we're gonna push this one back a little bit. This is going to be the brain in the middle, and this is going to be behind brain left and brain right, but above the body. So we're going to say brain middle, and then we're going to take these two, duplicate them, put them right in there, and then create clipping masks for them like we did for all the other ones. Whoops, let's take this and shrink this down all the way. Ooh, spooky. Okay, now that's looking cool. Now this one, you know, don't be deceived. We're still gonna have to do some work on this. Some blur work as well. Oh, you know what? There's a giveaway here. That is the same as the front on that. We're not going to be able to use this one. That's no good. Oh well. That's okay. Let's go back to bridge. And use that. That's the one slightly turned. The one we had before. There's the one with like the leaf on it. Is that any of them? Now that's what we use for the left. That's what we use for the right. So we're gonna have to use something like... Wait. Middle there. Now that's what we use for the right. We could use this. It kind of looks like what's on the right there, but it's... I can mirror it so that it looks different. That's what I'm going to do. Let's bring this into Photoshop. So, oh, you know what? We didn't remove chromatic aberration. I don't know if we did with the other one. I'm so sloppy. Alright. Image. Oh, I can't flip it horizontally because then the light is different. So we'll just bring it in, see what happens. We'll take this. We'll lasso. This. No, maybe we just want it really big. Can't I create a clipping mask for this? Oh, because it's not in here. Okay. So let's do a little bit of careful cutting around right here. We could preserve a little bit of this black, honestly, to like keep the shadows in. In fact, that might be a good strategy. Like, yo, save strats here. Just like get a little bit closer there. Let's do that for now. I mean, we'll move in closer, but I guess we can just get rid of almost completely. I'm just doing this by eyeball. It's no magic tricks to this. Alright, so I'm gonna bring this in again and remove the chromatic aberration, because actually it is noticeable there, unfortunately, which is a shame because it's looking pretty darn awesome like it is right there. Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool. Man, don't save. Man, I don't even know which one this was. We're gonna have to find it again. Ah, oh, bummer. There wasn't too many of them. I think it was actually the last one we took. No. Was it that one? What was that one? Yeah, it was the first one we took. Always remember to do this, guys. Chromatic aberration is not fun. You want your photos to be, like, good. Like, good, man. Very rough cut here. Oy, where did that even go? Oh, it went where it was supposed to. Which was right here. So this what did we do? Do we have properties for this? Will it tell us how far we shrunk it down? It really won't, will it? Okay. No, I want to count that as 100% now. Oh, we'll do this. We will shrink it down, and we'll just try to match it as best we can. I do remember I cheated and I did that, so. Say that's good for now. And so we gotta take this, put it a little bit more, a little bit in, bring it a little bit more down. I'll say that. I think that's okay. Release the clipping mask and say, now the clipping mask is on this one. What do we do here? That was wrong. Yeah, this takes a little bit of work here. Yeah, it takes a little bit of time. You kind of want to do this, you know, by hand. You don't want to rush this part. But you can take some time off by just giving it a rough. Okay, that's kind of cool. What I want to do, though, after I delete that layer, is I want to come back around on this brain right. Just go like that a little bit. See, because that background layer is so similar, maybe not as much there, but right there. It's fine. There's some like acceptability with that background layer that you could kind of like work with it. Because if I no, you zoom in close, it's not as spectacular. Ignore what I was saying. You want a pretty clear. Whoops. I don't know what I'm saying. I might not make a lot of sense. But yeah. It's hard to articulate a lot of the things I'm trying to do. We might have to blur this layer slightly. But we'll see if it comes to that. Does that bother me? I don't know. This highlight here, I don't know if it really should be there, so we're gonna make a layer called Black Paint 2. Black Paint 1 Prime. No, we'll just see if I kind of like just paint in a little black there and just kind of like lower the opacity a little bit. This looks okay. Stuff right there still kind of bothers me, so let's go back to this mask. Okay, now that's pretty cool. I'm gonna do something controversial. Not really. But I just want to change the size of this. Bring it in just a little bit here. Bring it back over. I'm also contemplating, I don't know if I like that like flail or not. Maybe I want to, let's bring in brain right, let's bring in brain left, let's compact these, let's bring in the body here. Let's see how low I can go with this. That might help some of the problem areas like over here. It might just like help it just look like an actual Metroid. Ooh, that looks pretty good actually. Even it out. We're gonna have to do a little bit of work here. When we go to back to our black paint layer. Or even back to our shadows left. Or shadows right, rather. Whoops. And get that a little bit more down. Let's go black paint here. Bring some shadows down here, but that actually doesn't look half bad. We're gonna have to bring do some work on this layer. That doesn't look bad. I can deal with that. Oh wait, did I hide that completely? Get rid of that. Those are our new highlights left. We'll keep that for now. Let's get this sort of the same color here. Now what happens if we colorize it? Bring our fill slightly down. Color slightly more magenta. Nice. We're going to do some work on the highlights now, like right there and right there. So let's do another curves layer. Let's bring this all the way up here. And let's bring highlights down. Like some stuff like that. Just sort of like paint in like around there. Cool. You know, that color still, the body's still a little off. That's better. Very cool. You know what? I think we're good for today. I think it's been a long stream. I'm gonna save this, and that's it for today. We'll be back probably tomorrow, and we'll keep working on it. Yeah, we've been working on this for 3 hours. Well, I hope you enjoyed part 1, day 1. And yeah, we'll see where we go with it tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in.